Alright, my super fam, how's your Nilou pools been going? I hope that any one of you who have been saving up for Nilou have finally brought her home and was able to build her. Now generally I wasn't really planning to be doing any specific Nilou guide. However, the other day I came across a pretty interesting comment asking me to do basically a guide on a DPS Nilou, which brought to my attention and lead us to where we are today, in which we'll be diving into top 5 best Nilou DPS team in this video so that you have an idea of how to build a DPS Nilou. Now guys, talking about pooling for characters, if you are new to the channel guys, then be sure to subscribe as I will be doing a giveaway at 35,000 subscribers. We are almost there already, so not a long way away, and the sooner we get there, the sooner you get the chance to win the giveaway and pool for some of the character that you have been saving up for. So just do me a favor and click on the subscribe button. It is also a free way to support me as well. And so guys, with that out of the way, let's just dive into today's video. Now first off, I just want to talk a little bit about kind of like a disclaimer of this video, is that it specifically surrounds the topic of DPS Nilou. Now we all know that Nilou is a character that operates only in Dendro and Hydro teams because that is the only way her bountiful cores will be activated. In other words, most of the time there's almost no reason for you to use Nilou in any other kind of the team because her performance is definitely not as optimal. And so if that is the case, and why are we actually considering other team comps built for Nilou? And the answer is that it's for fun guys. I believe that any of you who have been looking to build Nilou otherwise is just to have another way of playing with Nilou, and I totally understand that. I play my Nilou in all kind of different teams all the time, which is why I am sharing this in today's video. And at the end of the day, most of the time Genshin Impact is all about fun, so creating different team comps surrounding your favorite character is a really nice thing to do. And so generally a big disclaimer is that whenever you're running Nilou in a team rather than her bountiful core Dendro Hydro team, the performance is definitely gonna be worse. So keep that in mind, but in exchange you're seeing a lot of different playstyle from your Nilou. And so with that, here's Nilou first DPS team, which we're still gonna be featuring her in her normal Dendro and Hydro team with Nahida, Dendro MC and Kokomi. But the different things here is that you're basically going to be having your Nilou on field at this time, whereas most of the time players just have Nilou off field while triggering her Nilou Lotus that surrounds her. Now whenever you're having Nilou on field, you're basically going to be having her built a little bit differently because you want Nilou to be the triggerer of the bountiful cores, in which at this point in time most of her artifact pieces you would want to have EM on them. The higher the EM, of course, the higher the bountiful cores damage you will be able to do. And so what you can build with your artifact stats can be up to 3 EM pieces. However, if you are feeling that you're kind of lacking in HP, then you can actually go with an HP Sans and the rest with EM. Basically kind of like a mix and matches to this point, depending on whichever stat you're feeling that you are missing. However, since Nilou is on field, EM generally is going to be more desirable. For artifacts piece, you can technically use the 4-piece flop as it is technically designed for on-field Nilou. So if you are kind of investing on a DPS Nilou, then you generally would kind of want to invest into farming these 4 pieces. For weapon wise, obviously her BIS option is mostly gonna do her really well even when she is still a non-field character. Though I know that most of us won't be having access to a BIS option, then any other EM sword would technically work. We have a lot of options for you guys to choose from at this point. On top of that, there are many free-to-play options as well, so you can actually just go ahead and choose any of the EM swords that you have access to that have been built or have the highest refinement. However, as last resort guys, if you don't have any good access to an EM sword, then a sack sword will still be good, especially when it has the chance to provide Nilou with E skill reset, giving her technically an 100% E skill uptime. Team number 2, we have a vaporized Nilou team featuring Bennett, Xiangling, and Kazuha together with Nilou. Now if you want guys, you can actually switch in another Hydro character to run along with Nilou so that we have Hydro Resonance, such as if you have, you know, Kokomi on your account, then she would work pretty well because Nilou don't really benefit off of Pyro Resonance. However, if you are running with Pyro Resonance, then there is a lot higher chance of Nilou to actually being the triggerer of Vaporize, which is technically our goal of having Nilou on field, so that is actually nice. For Nilou's build here, the artifact stats is generally the same as our team 1, where you can go 3-piece EM or, you know, mix and match of HP and EM. However, this time around, since she won't be triggering any Dendro reactions, overall it's going to be better for us to slot in a lot more EM onto Nilou if possible, which is why we're going to be using 2-piece Flop and 2-piece Wanderer so that you can have a lot of EM boost onto your Nilou. Weapon wise, it's basically similar to our team 1, where her BIS option is still going to be the best and you can technically choose any of the EM sword you have on your account. Team rotation this time around is pretty simple. You basically start off with Benny's E skill, to Kazuha's EQ, to Bennett's Q, and then to Xiangling's EQ. After that, then switch to Nilou E on field. Team 3, we have an Electro Charge team that features Nilou, Kuki Shinobu, Fischl, and Yelan. Now if you want, you can actually switch in Kazuha in place of Fischl so that you have more hydro damage bonus here and there. However, generally I just have Fischl here so that we have double Hydro Resonance and Electro Resonance for a lot more consistency. Nilou build in this case is pretty similar to Team 2, where you can run 2-piece Flop and 2-piece Wanderer with artifact pieces of 3 EM or HP mix with EM, and weapon is going to be generally the same with BIS option still going to be the best and with any EM sword. Kuki is a very important character on this team where she acts as our healer since she is basically the best electro healer at this point. Plus the sheer amount of how much electro application she can do for the team is just really good. Together with the also powerful Fischl on the team, our electro damage and electro application is basically really much covered. Plus having Yelan here for Hydro Resonance and Nilou on field since she's going to be doing a lot of her, you know, kind of normal attack swinging, will be able to trigger Yelan at the same time. So this team technically works pretty well with each other, and I say you'd have a pretty fun time because, you know, Electro Charge isn't really much a popular reaction anymore after Dendro reaction have arrived, but from all of my testing, this team still do rather well. Team 4, we have basically kind of like a freeze team for Nilou, which features Diona, Shanhe, and Kazuha. Now in terms of freeze team, this is probably going to be the worst team you can have for a DPS Nilou, because from how you look at it, freeze doesn't really have any reaction damage that you can do off of it. Therefore, in other words guys, you're going to be relying on raw damage power of your Nilou, where Nilou's build this time around is going to be pretty different from all of the team we have discussed so far, as this time around we're technically going to be building a full-fledged Nilou DPS build that utilizes crit ratio. Now after our patch 3.6 new domain have arrived, we technically have the chance to go with 2-piece Tenacity and 2-piece Furukasha so that we can focus a lot on Nilou's HP, as Nilou herself scale with a lot of HP. In terms of artifact stats, you can go with HP Sands, Hydro Cups, and a crit circlet. Heck, if you are kind of bold, you can actually go ahead and slot her a 4-piece Blizzard Strayer if you are feeling that you're lacking in crit rate, because the whole point of a freeze team is for you to actually have your enemies frozen for you to do damage. Weapon wise, her BIS option is still going to be the best. However, not far from it is going to be the Jade Cutter, where it does give her HP percentage plus a lot of crit rate at the same time. So a very valuable option if you have the Jade Cutter on your account. Other than that, any damage focused sword can also work on her, like, you know, the Black Cliff Sword, the Black Sword, even the Festering Desire can work because it does increase her E skill damage. However, we all know that Festering Desire is kind of like, you know, a pretty limited weapon at this point. Or if you have the Harbinger of Dawn build, then it can still work really well, especially on this Nilou build, with Diona here on the team to be acting as our healer on a cryo free team alongside with Shenhe so that we make up cryo resonance with buffing a lot of your cryo damage here and there, because both Diona and even Kazuha can make use of this Shenhe's buff. Team rotation is pretty simple. You first start off with Diona's EQ, to Kazuha's EQ, to Shenhe's EQ, and then to Nilou on field. Fifth team, we have basically kind of like a mono hydro team for Nilou that features Xingqiu, Yelan, Kazuha alongside with her. Now from a lot of my testing guys, I actually realized that mono hydro team with this team specifically for Nilou is actually really good, and they deal really high hydro numbers, because on field Nilou is able to trigger both Xingqiu and Yelan's burst really well, alongside with Kazuha buffing a lot of her hydro damage bonus. So everyone on this team just benefit each other really well, which is really good news for those of you who love hydro characters, because now we have a nice mono hydro team for you to run. How we build Nilou here is quite similar to how we built our Nilou freeze team, because again we are basically relying on Nilou raw damage power, and you can run along with 2-piece tenacity, 2-piece Furukasha, as well as HP, hydro, and crit altogether. Weapon is basically the same as our freeze team too, so if you've already built a Nilou freeze team before, then your weapon on a mono hydro team for your Nilou is covered as well. So Nilou has a few fun passive team at this point that we can run along with her if you're feeling kind of tired with her bountiful core team after playing that team for a while, even though we knew that it's not going to be as good as her main team. However, it doesn't mean that her other team is not functional. It can still be really good if you invest into your Nilou, because they still do quite a lot of reaction damage. Therefore, technically you're still going to be able to clear out most of the content when using different Nilou teams. The only tough part is going to be you being able to clear floor 12 of the Abyss. That's technically the only hurdle you have to overcome if you're using other Nilou teams. But other than that, from my experience, it is a very nice thing to see for your Nilou experience. So that's going to be all of my team discussion for Nilou DPS build. I know that there can be some other team we can run with Nilou at this point, so if you do have any recommendation guys, just feel free to leave it down in the comment section, as I will be looking there, and I always love to see different suggestions for you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed the video guys, and once again, if you are new to the channel, then just do me a favor and click on the subscribe button, as again we are going to be having a giveaway at 35,000 subs for you guys, so that's going to be a big chance for you to win a lot of Primo gems. If you are looking to build other character teams guys, then I have a whole playlist that you can go through, so be sure to check this out after this video. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me till this part of the video, and with that I wish you a super day, and I will catch you on my next video.